exactly what me and Dave did, though. What you talking about, man? Oh man, Lamar Jackson is going to be the greatest QB in NFL history. I didn't say it. Some people believe it, but I'm gonna let John Harbaugh tell you how he really feels.
Lamar, for whatever reason, there's a lot of great things said about Lamar, but there's a lot of stuff that's said that you got to just scratch your head about and kind of wonder, what's that person even thinking, So, but we take it personally. Lamar's a guy all his life. Lamar Jackson has been a guy who's been answering those same questions. I'm talking about since he was a kid, junior high, high school, college, the draft, the success he's had in the National Football League, and it still comes up. Okay? And he's still growing. He's got a growth mindset. He's going to get better and better, no doubt. But what does he have to do to prove himself to some people, right? And so the thing for me is it's talking about vision again. There's a vision. And I believe the Ravens and we've always had a vision for Lamar Jackson. It started with Lamar's vision and his mom's vision when he said he was going to be a quarterback. And the vision that we have together is that Lamar Jackson is going to become and be known and be recognized as the greatest quarterback ever to play in the history of the National Football League.
Had to let that one breathe for a moment. He said a lot in that clip. Dave, how you feel about what he said?
I'll say this. Lamar Jackson is, to me, the most talented quarterback in the league. If you look at what he's capable of doing. When it comes to his athleticism, him being a quarterback, still being able to throw the ball, run, be elusive when it comes to from getting away from tackles, his lateral movement. Lamar Jackson is, to me, the most talented quarterback in the league. Now, when it comes to being the greatest quarterback of all time, I think what he needs to do is, of course, start winning Super Bowl titles. Unfortunately for him, there's a quarterback who was only drafted a year before him who already has 3. And his name is Patrick Mahomes.
Hey.
As far as I know right now, Lamar Jackson's not in the conversation as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Now, that's not to say that he can't get there, but it's going to have to start next season. Like he has to win a Super Bowl title soon. He can't wait anymore to get to that part. Now, he's gotten to the AFC Championship for the first time in his career last year, which is great. He won the MVP again and had the number 1 seed in the AFC, number 1 team in the AFC last year. But Patrick Mahomes came into Baltimore and changed that. So not only do you need to win Super Bowl titles, you need to beat the guy who's winning the Super Bowl titles. So you got to do that as well. Lamar Jackson, to me, doesn't have to prove about what he's capable of as a quarterback. He just needs to win. That's the thing. To be the greatest quarterback of all time, you got to win. Now, there's 3 guys in that conversation. Well, we know who the greatest quarterback of all time right now is. It's Tom Brady. But there's 2 other guys that are in that conversation, and that's Joe Montana and Patrick Mahomes. What do those guys have that Lamar Jackson does not have? Super Bowl titles. They got rings. So for me, that's a great thing to have. But John, you need to understand, he's not going to get there if he doesn't win a Super Bowl title. And you are partially responsible for that as his head coach. You got to make sure that you put him in the best position to do so. And as his head coach, you got to lead him and be like, hey, there are opportunities out there where you can run. Take those opportunities. Don't wait. Don't try to be someone else, someone that you're not. Go out there and play your game to your best ability and do what you can to help us win games. Because I'm telling you, if Lamar Jackson played his game in the AFC Championship game, this conversation would be a little bit different.
That's true. it's not only just on John Harbaugh as well, it's also on the GM because you named the two quarterbacks, right? And a few of them, there's something else that they have outside of weapons. I mean, rings is weapons because they've been depriving Lamar Jackson of actual receivers for a while now. Look what Kansas City just did. They just revamped their whole wide receiver core. And now everybody's talking about look at the speed that they're going to have alone with one of the best tight ends in the league. Also with a run game where they found out to use the run game in spurts where it can kill you, and then boom, their defense also helps as well. So again, as a head coach, I can see you coming out. What else would he say about his quarterback? I mean, they drafted the kid, and when they drafted him, everything they said about him coming out of the draft, some people wanted to make him a running back, some people wanted to make him a wide receiver. They wanted him to do everything but play quarterback. The Ravens drafted him and said, "Look, we're going to make the vision for us is to make Lamar Jackson one of the best quarterbacks." And technically, they've done that outside of providing with actual wide receivers. Some people said he can't throw the football. I mean, Dave, I know you alluded to that comment where they said he can't throw the ball, but even if he couldn't throw the football, y'all not giving him nobody to throw it to. Now, when he shows you that he can throw the football with these pieces that you got around him, it's like, what's next? Now you go get him a run game. Cool. You go get him a defense. It's all there. He has Derrick Henry. He has a defense. There's another stat that's out there, right? Lamar Jackson's defense give up an average of 15.7 points per game in the last 6 playoff appearances compared to that Chiefs team. Chiefs teams give up 21.2 on an average, and they find ways to win. But that comes with weapons on the offensive side as well. Now, I'm not saying it's all on Lamar because I know someone that's going to watch this segment and be like, well, he got hurt in a few of those games. But again, if your quarterback goes down and you know that your quarterback has the potential going down because of the style in which he's forced to play, because he can run the ball, but when he's forced to have to do it on every single play because no one's getting open, of course he's going to get hurt. So again, John and Eric, you got to put pieces around him. I can't say about Dak Prescott with his defense, but he always had offensive weapons there. So if you go out there and lose games and you got offensive weapons, I believe it's on you. When you go out there and you have no weapons and you have to try to win every game on your own, something has to be said about that. Go ahead, Joe.
Now look, after the video, after that clip was over, this is what he said. John Harbaugh. He said after he laid out the vision, right, by him being the greatest quarterback ever, he said it's going to happen by Lamar, his work ethic, his brilliant talent, by all of us pouring into that effort as a team, teamwork, and by the grace of God and God's goodwill. If you are a head coach, take notes. That's a head coach that believes in his quarterback and is telling him that we as a team, we're going to give you all the support you need to become the best. But he started off by saying it's going to happen by Lamar, his work ethic, and his brilliant talent. Lamar got to do the work, but we're going to pour into that effort as a team and by the grace of God and his will. So I have no issue with what Harbaugh said. All he did was back his best player. I think more coaches should do that. Now, let me say this. I feel like Lamar Jackson is either overly killed or overly protected. All right? It's never down the middle. And I feel like I lean towards the overly protected side because of the overkill side of Lamar in the national media. The disrespect he gets, not being in the top 10. You know, winning MVP, making to the LC Championship game, and Josh Allen and Aaron Rodgers sit ahead of you no, not Aaron Rodgers. Josh Allen sit ahead of you in the jump. Like, come on now. You know, right? So, and Joe Burrow wasn't even here last year. What's going on?
And Justin Herbert.
No, Lamar was 4 this year. This year they actually have my 4. Justin Herbert was at 6. Dak need to holler at them about that. Dak Prescott. All right.
They had Kellen Moore. Don't worry about it. That's all. You just got to learn.
They did. So now, so I'm gonna give an unbiased take real quick, y'all. The Ravens. So the Ravens, you know, we always, like Tomo said, we don't have weapons for Lamar, which is true. You know, Lamar Jackson, you got Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. What can I say, right? Joe Mixon, all-pro running back. They all had weapons. Lamar, up to last year, he kind of did, but the year before that, they never had weapons outside of his tight end. All right? Lamar has played 3 healthy seasons. In 3 healthy seasons, 2 MVPs. That's a lot. So Oz tells you when he's healthy, he's going to win MVP. Also, Lamar Jackson has improved in every playoff run he had. His first year being in the playoffs, he was in a wild card, looked terrible. His second year in the playoffs, second time in the playoffs, he skipped the wild card because he was number 1 seed. Then he lost in the divisional round. His third time in the playoffs, he didn't skip the wild card. He actually played it and won. Got his first playoff game. Lost to the Bills. His last playoff run, last one he's had, skipped the wild card, won his first divisional game, and lost an AFC Championship game. So every time he's taking another step. So what's the problem? Why are we mad at Lamar Jackson? You know what it is. What kind of criticism that get, Tomo?
2-4. Can he win a playoff game?
It's the playoffs. It's the playoffs.
No, you 2-4.
I got a graphic for y'all right here, y'all. Look at this. Look at this graphic. All right, you can say on the title, Tomo. We gotta edit that. Lamar Jackson, his rookie season compared to his playoffs. His rookie season compared to his playoffs. Look at this, y'all. 50. Look, rookie season completion percentage is higher, yards per attempt is higher, total TDs is higher, total turnovers is lower, and the QB rating is higher. And his rookie season is arguably his worst year because obviously he wasn't Lamar Jackson then. His rookie season, and he only played 7 games. So this is why we are critical on Lamar. People are critical on Lamar. It's his playoff. When they lose, he don't play good. We make excuses like myself. Oh, they should have ran the ball more. Did we say that about Dak Prescott?
Nope.
Or do we use that to condemn Dak Prescott?
Yep.
I know I did. When they lost to the 49ers the first time, I'm like, man, every time they run the ball, they did good, but they kept throwing it with Dak. So, I'm loving this, right? So, that's all I'm saying. So, Lamar Jackson, like David said, Lamar Jackson this year has to win. He has to at least get to the Super Bowl. And like I said about Dak Prescott, can you at least play well when y'all lose? That's all we need. When y'all lose, can you play well? You know, so I'm all for Lamar. I'm rooting for Lamar, but it got to be some fair criticism. Like I said, I think he's overly killed, and I think he's overly protected. I feel like this right here is right down the middle.
So you saying as he got older, he got worse in the playoffs?
Nah, he actually had his best playoff game last year.
He did. It's kind of like Dak playing the Bucks and then going out there and losing to the 49ers. That kind of he had his best game against the Texans, and then he went up there and then you just lost it against the Chiefs. I'm just saying, man, at the end of the day, the one thing everybody goes back to when they talk about it is the MVPs. But when you break it down, that's like you said, Joe, people are on the fence with it. It's overprotection or it's overkill. It's never down the middle. Now, the disrespect definitely comes from when people ask questions like, is Josh Allen overrated? But then they'll flip the conversation and say, is Lamar Jackson worth his contract? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you talking about a 2-time MVP who's proven that when he's on the field, they win versus a guy who's just known for the one big game against the Chiefs. So,
yeah, I also think that some of that criticism comes from his MVP season last year. Last year, he doesn't, if you look at his numbers, it doesn't look like he deserved to win. But if you pay attention to how the Ravens played last year, you look at the position he was in, who else were you going to give it to? I mean, Christian McCaffrey was in the conversation, but I mean, it hasn't gone to a running back unless they broke a record in the NFL. Brock Purdy was in it, but Brock Purdy had 5 interceptions against the Ravens.
Dang,
so that was not going to happen. Yeah, it's 5. So he had 5 interceptions against the Ravens. And Dak Prescott, who was also in the conversation, had the numbers, but it was against bad teams.
He just had to beat Miami, man.
So
what he had to do. And
yeah,
he played good that game too.
Yeah, his
and then Lamar turned around, destroyed Miami.
Exactly. So he had the opportunity. The opportunities were there for other people to take it, and Lamar Jackson was the only one to capitalize on it. So
facts.
Because think about it like this. I think, did they lose to the Lions or they smoked the Lions?
They smoked the Lions.
Yeah,
they smoked every team.
That was the deal breaker.
They smoked the Texans.
They didn't lose to an NFC team at all last year. They blew all of them out.
Lamar only lost to the Giants his whole career.
Yeah.
But like, look, Dave, that 49ers game, Christmas, we knew how hyped that game was. 49ers was riding high. They just blew out. It just destroyed Philly.
We were on a high because at first we had that losing streak. that 3-game losing streak when Debo went out and when Christian McCaffrey got hurt. So we had that losing streak. Take a bye, then we start blowing teams out right after that. Then we go, and then Christmas Day, that game, Monday night, playing against the Ravens, the number 1 team in the AFC, and we're the number 1 team in the NFC. You got 2 number 1 teams going against each other, and then the Ravens just dominated the game.
Bro, the 49ers took Philly, Hell in a Cell match, took them on top of the cage, and chokeslammed them all the way down by J.R. Ryder and landed on their feet. And then Philly was knocked out. That's how bad they beat Philly. And then the 49ers did that to them on Christmas, bro. They beat them worse than they did Philly. I mean, well, I'm not gonna say that.
But you wanna know the difference?
Y'all like beat the praise off Philly. I'm not gonna say
No.
y'all made Brock Purdy look worse than Jalen Hurts.
I would say it's kind of about the same. The only difference is the 49ers, they weren't mentally crumbled after that, like another team. Another team was mentally crumbled after that one. I'm just saying. Everybody got beat bad last year, and teams found a way to bounce back. One team tanked it after that. That's all I'm saying. I think they belong in the doghouse. We ain't gonna say too much, man. You got a sample of the doghouse, man.